Hello, this is Tony Heller from RealClimateScience.com. In 1989, the United Nations announced that we only had 10 years to save the planet from global warming. Then in 2006, Al Gore made a science fiction movie about energy and climate, which was shown to billions of school children around the world. That same year, he said we only had 10 years to save the planet from global warming. World elites were so impressed by this that they awarded him the Nobel Peace Prize the following year. In 2008, Barack Obama and Joe Biden were elected, and Obama announced that he had healed the planet and slowed the rise of the seas.
And I am absolutely certain that generations from now, we will be able to look back and tell our children that this was the moment when we began to provide care for the sick and good jobs to the jobless. This was the moment when the rise of the oceans began to slow and our planet began to heal.
But Obama and Biden got some bad news from NASA's leading climate scientist in January the following year. NASA's James Hansen started the global warming scare before Congress in 1988, and he said that Obama had to solve global warming during his first 4 years or before 2013. But there was more bad news for climate alarmists today. The Guardian published this article. Soon it will be unrecognizable. Total climate meltdown cannot be stopped, says expert. This article made the world's leading climate fraudster Michael Mann very angry. He said, "This statement is entirely untrue and extremely unhelpful, especially on the verge of breakthrough climate legislation that can limit planetary warming below the 1.5°C danger limit." So Michael Mann is saying that the United States Congress can stop global warming dead in its tracks by passing this bill. Mann is so determined to get this legislation passed that he's threatening U.S. senators who stand in his way. So let's take a look at what Michael Mann's colleagues say will take to limit warming to around 1.5 Celsius. They say it will require global greenhouse gas emissions to peak for 2025 at the latest and be reduced by 43% before the year 2030. But that's something that's simply not going to happen. During Biden's 50 years in Washington, atmospheric CO2 levels have continued to exponentially increase. Biden's game-changing legislation in 1987 and dozens of climate agreements have done nothing to slow the rise of CO2 in the atmosphere. Emissions in the United States have been declining for almost 20 years, with the largest drop under President Trump. But at the same time, China's emissions have been skyrocketing. CO2 emissions from Asia have been rapidly increasing while they've been declining in the United States. The United States is a minor contributor to global CO2 emissions, with the majority coming from Asia. Joe Biden's climate envoy John Kerry admits even if the United States dropped off the face of the earth, it wouldn't make a difference for climate change. And Joe Biden said the same thing himself 1 year ago.
So your forests are still going to find insects that are eating the evergreens in the summer. Your summers are going to get hotter. Your winters are going to get warmer. You're going to see pollution in your water supplies. You're going to see the shore lapping up and taking out land where people are living, etc. 85% of the problem is over there in the rest of the world. So it requires someone who knows how to bring together the world. Not a joke.
Both John Kerry and Joe Biden understand the United States does not have the ability to control global CO2 emissions. And China, the world's #1 CO2 emitter, is massively ramping up their use of coal. So unless the United States Congress has the ability to control the rest of the world, the bill which Michael Mann is promoting will do little or nothing to slow the growth of CO2. Based on his own belief system, the statement he made in this tweet is completely false. From a scientific viewpoint, what Michael Mann is saying doesn't make any sense. But if we look a little deeper, we can understand what it's about. The bill provides billions of dollars for climate fraudsters like himself. That's why he's so determined to get it passed. And if it does get passed, he will go right back to fear-mongering about the climate, saying we need to do something drastic to stay below the 1.5°C limit. The reason that Michael Mann is able to get away with this fraud is because the press and politicians give him total cover. The press never allows any criticism of Michael Mann, and they never allow any other points of view. Toto has been pulling back the curtain on this big money fraud for the past 14 years. You can visit him, Kyrie, Caesar, Toki, and Upala on the web at realclimatescience.com.